Welcome, dear viewers, to this new edition of Unbossing Leadership. And again, I feel so privileged to have a guest, the co-founder of Krisos, a colleague of Dunya Viverta, whom I was able to interview a few weeks ago. So welcome, Javier. Welcome. And I will just say a few words about you. And then, of course, I'm going to hand it over to you and you will introduce yourself even more. Does that work for you?
Thank you very much. Yes.
Okay. So this Unbossing Leadership LinkedIn Live series is meant to help us all imagine even more what it means to help organizations develop towards self-management, or the teal paradigm, you could say. Decentralizing leadership and restructuring, and at the same time, of course, also supporting staff members, leaders to give up and unlearn certain hindering behaviors and ways of thinking. And Krisos has been quite successful in doing this already with Indaero in the past in southern Spain. I've been learning a lot about it, but I'm very curious to hear, of course, from your perspective. Now, Javier is not only the co-founder of Krisos, he's also co-founder of Full Circle, I believe. And you've also been a pioneering member with K2K, which is promoting and working with the NAIR Group's approach. So welcome, Javier, and let us know a little bit about yourself, and then I'll dive deeper together with you.
Okay. Thank you, Mario. Uh, I am 58 years old, so I got a long experience, life experience and professional experience, if you want to say like that. And I'm saying like experiences because I've been in huge multinationals with the hundreds of thousands of people. Only one, my first one. That was the first experience. And I did realize that wasn't for me because it was something where I had to obey somebody who was obeying somebody. So then I left and I created my first company when I was 25 years old.
Oh.
And that was very small business that went quite well because it was something that was not existing in Spain. So we did a very nice development, very technical, B2B. And at the same time, I was studying an MBA. So from my chemical background, I came to somewhere else. And years after, I sold it to a Dutch company they came to me. They were, I was distributing some of their products and they told me, Xavier, you sell it to us or we will create our own subsidiary in Spain. So I said, okay, this is yours. And so I moved to somewhere else, and that was more in the business to consumer world. I wanted to experience that. Internationalization. Lucky I am that I can talk about 6-7 languages. So that helped to me a lot and created some subsidiaries of this Spanish family-owned company in many places in the world. And that was, for me, that was a very good experience because it was working with teams, bigger teams, creating teams and creating an environment where people were, let's say, the principal actors of it. No? At a certain moment, I did realize that the family, they started to have problems within themselves. I said, I'm not here to play politics. So then I bought together with a private equity, a company which name is Leque. And there I've been about 15 years developing, transforming a company which was basically OEM business. My intention when I bought that company, and it was my first link to something called purpose, because during the former period, I was traveling every week around the world, eating not properly because eating always in restaurants, etc. So I was about 20 kilograms, a little bit bigger than that. So I had made myself a change, a transformation. I am talking about the 2000, 2002, 2003, and I had my first coach. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I did my own transformation. And in between, I said, I have to change my way of living. So eating properly. And I did realize that to eat properly when you are a couple with 3 children, both of us working, it was not easy. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
said, I need to make something to make the life of people easier to eat healthy in an easy way, and if you want, a funny way. Yeah? So
Mm-hmm.
when I bought that company, it was a company that were doing some things to, let's say, bake, a bakery in silicon, and I said we will transform it to something else to
Mm-hmm.
facilitate the way people are eating. So we did develop a lot of products in silicon to cook in the microwave, and we did realize that in that period, I did experience for the first time what using, so let me say it differently, being conscious about the intuition we have and using the intuition to
Mm-hmm.
develop a business or to
Mm-hmm.
lead a business
Mm-hmm.
was very powerful.
Yeah.
So everything what we did at that time, it was design thinking, but at the end is sensing. No, so even the strategy, everything has been developed uh, from the intuition. Of course, we
Uh-huh.
are rational as well, but when we put it together, then it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't need to make these big strategic plans with so many numbers and pages, etc., that are useless. So drawing and that was all. And in that company, we did develop a lot of products oriented to the needs of the people around the world,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was incredible. So we multiplied, I don't know, by 4, by 5, by 6. I don't remember now the results at the bottom, and we created a team of people really happy. I remember the years of the crisis, of the financial crisis,
Mm-hmm.
2008, 2012. Yeah, that some people were coming to our company and saying, we love coming to you because here we see happiness.
Oh.
Outside there is sadness, and here there is happiness. No,
Mm-hmm.
and there we started to create what afterwards was called self-management. So some teams oriented to different users that were multifunctional, from marketing, design, sales, etc. And they were creating, developing the business, etc. And it was really funny, really, and very successful. So two things. It was intuition driven. It was people driven. We said we are people centered. So not only we as workers, but our customers,
Mm-hmm.
buyers, the users, etc. So it was really something that it was coming from inside. No?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And after this period, then uh, I left the company, and then I started to be, well, I said I found my real purpose, my real essence, which is still today to help to transform the world in a better place where people can, and through the companies, because this is what I know and what I can bring into the society, where people feel better, as well the society and the planet. No,
Mm-hmm.
and well, that was my purpose. I did connect with it. It was my essence. I connect, and I'm always talking about that. If people are asking me what I'm doing, is to bring love to the companies. That's it.
Beautiful, Javi. Thank you so much for sharing that. And also starting, of course, with your personal purpose, realizing that there's something that was out of balance in your own life, and realizing it starts with yourself and with your own body, and that you connected that with what you wanted to bring into the world, and realizing that that is the source, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
It led you then to emphasize less strategic planning and more intuition, and doing it together and sensing together with your people into what's the best, not just for us, but also for our clients, etc., and all stakeholders involved. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And then I'm understanding that you, at some point, I believe around 2020 or so, you discovered maybe the NAIR approach or the K to K consulting firm, and you joined them. Is that correct?
Yes, by the end of 2020, I joined K2K.
Mm-hmm.
And together with one colleague of mine here in Catalonia, we started to do transformations in Catalonia, in the
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona area. Yeah. So I've been with K2K a little bit more than 2 years and a half, and doing transformations in Catalonia. Uh, some of these transformations, they were uh, together with the management or let's say the general manager or the ownership of the companies,
Mm-hmm.
and we were doing more the consultancy and going with them, etc. And in two other companies, I took the leadership of the company, and then I was leading from inside, but being as well the responsible for the company, let's say that.
Okay, so you were kind of
Or the
the
leader of the company, let's say that.
leader.
It's kind
Okay, so you were the purpose-aligned interim manager. Is that what we could say, more or less?
we could say.
Okay, and then I'm curious because the NAIR group's approach, in my understanding, doesn't necessarily involve buying the company. So that has been an even more radical step towards than what Krisos is doing today. Help us understand what made you realize that it takes a step to go even further, and then collaborating also with Dunia and also Corporate Rebels. What was that realization?
Uh, let's say around so my experience at Lakeway, this company where I was shareholder together with a private equity, I did realize that there was like a kind of dichotomy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was saying people first, we develop the business with a purpose, etc. Don't worry about the results. The results will come, and the results were there, so they were trusting. But at a certain moment, they replaced, the fund was changed. Yeah? So I had another fund uh, as a shareholder, and they were focusing EBITDA, 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 EBITDA.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then I did realize that there was really a big
Disconnect.
difference.
Yeah.
And I was disconnecting myself. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
if we want to help to transform the world, uh, there is a lot of money in the world that is available for good as well. Yeah, not only for improving the gap between the highest wealthy people and
Mm.
the rest, but there are people or there is money that is ready to be invested in or for the good of the
Mhm.
world. So then I said, why not creating something like that? And I'm talking about 2018, yeah,
Okay. Mhm.
17, 18. But okay, I had this, and it is still written in one of my notebooks. And then in the 2020, having a discussion with Dunia,
Mhm.
at the time we were at K2K, we said, hey, this is something that could be done. And Dunia had already been working on that back in 2016, etc. So
Uh-huh,
we
yeah.
were both aligned for the same purpose. So we said,
Mm.
why don't we start it?
Uh-huh.
And then we convinced Yavi. It was very easy. And we said, okay, let's go. And during one of these meetings that we were having, we said we need to have somebody international, somebody from abroad that has like a big impact worldwide. And we said, well, we call Pim and Jost and see if they want to join it. And it was just a meeting, and they said, yes, of course we want that. So that's how it
Yes.
was created. We started working on it on 2020. But this requires a lot of work in terms of legal, I don't know, legal entities, etc. And we bought the first company back in 2023
Oh, 23.
in
Mhm.
Dairo. And
Mhm.
now where I am today, it's the second company we bought 3 weeks ago here in the Barcelona area.
Yeah, yeah. Congratulations. Fantastic.
Thank you. You can congratulate us
Yes.
in 3 years. For the moment, say, oh, good luck, or we good hopes.
Yeah, well, I think there's actually already something to be celebrated and understood from Dunya, which is what was quite interesting in this acquisition was that the owners approached you. So you didn't go out there to seek, who can we transform? You have built already a reputation for yourself for owners now to approach you. I think that's quite a shift that is significant.
Mm. And the owners of this company, which are they are investors,
Yeah.
they said we want to see it and we want to live that this is possible,
Yeah.
and that there is an improvement, if you want, in the economical results,
Hmm.
but more than that, there is a change in the way people are living and in their lives, and as well a change in the impact we have into the society and in the planet.
Hmm.
So, and this company has a lot of challenges because it's a, let's say, hard industry, aluminium press, so it's really tough work,
Hmm.
and as well, I would say, well, it's been, I would say, it's in the 80s or in the 90s in terms of management. Yeah, so
Hmm. Okay.
hierarchy really. If we talk about the Frederic Laloux levels, let's say that
Hmm. Hmm.
would
Hmm.
be between red and amber.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
so the gap is big.
Yeah. So, and,
It's
and
gonna be
from how
nice.
I've
It's gonna be nice.
gotten, yeah, and from how I've gotten to know you, we had several conversations and a prep call, and we will get back to that later. Is that there is a gap, a cultural gap, and that you like to come from humility, and so that's maybe something we can speak about later. I would just like to go for now into the quote that I think I heard you say. It's the easy part is the restructuring part, that which a lot of times organizational consultancies and many people like me, coaches, consultants, we train with sociocracy as 3.0 and collegial leadership, at least in Germany. That's one approach, and you say that's the easy part, but what's really challenging is actually helping people shift their mindsets and maybe elevate their emotional intelligence and trust that this process is for them. Can you share a little bit about how you mean that? And then I would like to also hear a little bit about the restructuring process as you remember it at Inda Aero. But what
Mm.
do you mean by this quote?
Uh, I always explain it's not mine. It's Ken Wilber quadrant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Aqual. Mm-hmm.
uh, I, we,
Yep.
yeah, who I am or what I am, or yeah,
Yep.
and how, no. So in what I say, changing the structures is something about us and how we act. Fantastic. This is quite easy because you can draw it, you can co-create it, whatever you want, but it is something that can be implemented, no? And you need to use KPIs or OKRs or whatever, lean manufacturing, whatever you want, but it is something really rational and
Mm-hmm.
that you can put it in there. Right. I say it is easy for people who know to do it,
Who know
but
how to do it? Obviously, yes.
uh, fantastic. But all this doesn't work unless you change the mindset, you change the culture. So what the culture is who we are. So then
Yeah.
the culture is who we are as a team, who we are as an organization.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm using the example of here, well, it's a company where people go to work, to get paid, to live their lives. Yeah, and in many cases in the survival level, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
higher, but in the survival level. So this is the culture, and somebody's telling us what we do. To change that, you can impose it. It will never happen. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go up and start uh, working with individuals,
Mm-hmm.
with ourselves, who I am, and my mindset, and uh, my beliefs, as we say, as
Yes.
we as we discussed, we have been created a, a layer, yeah, of protections
Mm-hmm.
during our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and, because we have been harmed somehow, no? And
Mm-hmm.
if you go to the first 7 years of life, this is one of the periods where people are creating more layers.
Mm-hmm.
From the 3 years old, we start imitating our parents, imitating our teachers, imitating because we believe this is how we have to behave. No, so we lose our essence. No,
Mm-hmm.
so from being love to being somebody who's protecting himself from the fear. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we start to work in the transformation of people. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that depends on where we are, depending on which organization. We can start with something so easy as emotional intelligence and knowing ourselves and knowing our reactions and the reactions of our colleagues, etc. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in places like this one where we have so many different cultures, uh,
Mm-hmm.
people that came to this country by a boat, crossing the Mediterranean, etc. So here there are a lot of challenges, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and but we need to work on them because
Mm-hmm.
the purpose, don't forget, it is to transform the world and let people live better. So this is as well part of
Mm-hmm.
our job. This is a
Mm-hmm.
part of what we have to do. Of course, the business has to be sustainable and work properly, etc., because we want to keep paying salaries and paying profit to the people, yeah, as we call
Yes.
the harvest.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we need to work on this side first of all. So that's,
Yeah.
well, first of all, I don't say first of all because changing structures is necessary and
Yeah.
changing the way we work is necessary. But we cannot forget that this goes first. If we don't work on this side, the rest will not happen. Or we will need to be there,
Mm-hmm.
strong, forcing and sustaining it. Because
Imposing. Yeah.
if we leave it, it comes back to the former way. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. So can you help us maybe see that, make it a little bit more concrete now that you've bought this company 3 weeks ago, so it's very fresh, and you will start the process if you haven't already. Can you guide us a little bit through how you combine, the restructuring that you say is the easy part, but you have to know how to do it. But could you let us in a little bit on how you do that step by step, and also then how and when do you then bring in, let's say, more of the trust building, the mindset, and the emotional intelligence. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Uh, let me list it. I am listing it here. So the first thing we do always, well, first of all, I don't know if Dunia talked about it, but before buying, we do a general assembly and we ask the workers to vote if
Yes.
they want to make the change. So we did prepare an explanation, explaining in detail what is this, but this is the first time listens to it. So they think it's an utopia. Yeah. So we
Mhm.
need to explain it very clear, putting the benefits, but as well the challenges they will find, because that
Mhm.
means
Mhm.
that there will be a lot of things that will be changed. No? And we prepared as well a booklet with all the information that they can read, a lot of links, a lot of videos, books to read, etc. So that people could spend 1 or 2 weeks investigating, yeah,
Okay.
looking for it.
Mhm.
And then in that case, it was 1 week later, we did the vote. Again, we reinforced what we were explaining. We reinforced the idea that we didn't sign the acquisition yet, and only if they vote yes,
Yeah.
we wouldn't buy. So that's the first. So this is something that we already got their commitment somehow.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes, we won. Okay, let's
Mhm.
go. Now we have started doing interviews individually to every single person of the company,
Okay.
1 hour. So that means I have spent 48 hours interviewing people. Uh, And now we know, so this is a kind of interview which is quite guided and going through some values. We are evaluating transparency, autonomy, freedom, etc. No, commitment, yeah. And we got now a picture. We could believe that every single company has the similar picture. No, every
No, I don't think so.
has different
No.
pictures. So that's
Yeah.
which is nice because
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
it fantastic. So in the meantime, it's normal. We are leading the business, so then I started to get into the business, understand the accounts, the customers, the production flows, etc., and understand which are the problems, the challenges that we have here. Yeah, and second step would be that we present the diagnose and we make already some proposals. Some, in that case, some emergency task force that we will need to build because there are things that we need urgently to make.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. Oh.
First, second, ask volunteers to co-create the organization, the teams, how they will be working, and this will be done during June, July, so that we got already some teams that will be working. Creating the teams would be quite easy, but then you need to define the roles and the mission of each team. What's the reason why this team is existing, yeah? And which roles this team needs to have. For more information, I think that there is Corporate Rebels, one of the chapters or one of the articles, they define how to create roles from the tasks. Yeah, very easy. I mean, this is a facilitation. That's it. Next step, we will start developing these new teams, so they will be created, and in between there will be people, many middle managers that will have probably new roles that but yeah, we will have to replace some roles. One of the things that we do at NER or at K2K, we did, and we do at Krisos, is multiply by 2 or by 3 the sales force or the sales team, yeah, or the business development team, however you want to call it.
Okay. And that's where typically the managers go when they
Somebody,
lose their role. That's where they might
yeah,
need to go.
and
Okay.
if not, some of them, they are people that have a lot of knowledge and they can be mentoring people from the teams and mastering somehow, or being in the development, research or innovation, etc. Yeah? So
Makes sense.
but that needs already deep conversations, because I was a manager, I got my gallons, and now you're asking me to do. So I do not have any more gallons, and you ask me, okay. So that requires deep conversations.
Yeah.
We are trained in having these kind of conversations. Dunia, Yavi, myself, but as well full circle team. We are all trained in tough leadership, for instance, or we are systemic facilitators. So we are used to that.
Yeah.
And once we have this, we start working with the new teams. Okay? In the meantime, don't forget, business has to work. We need to invoice and we need to pay salaries, etc. So that's why there are always 2 of us in every company. One more focus in the transformation, and the other one more focus in making sure that the business goes.
Yeah.
Or keeps going. And this role, it's changed. So Dunia at the beginning at Indero was more into the business, and I was more helping into the transformation
Ah,
tasks.
mhm,
Although she was leading it, but I was there more for support in this side.
mhm.
Here I am leading the business, and Yavi is coming more for the transformation. So in
Mhm.
every place, in the meantime, transparency. So next week we are going to do the first general meeting. We're going to introduce the numbers. They didn't know that the company has been losing money for the last 3 years. So
Mhm.
we introduce the P&Ls very simply because we want that every single person understands the P&L and where his work impacts into the P&L.
Wow. Yeah.
Remember,
Powerful. Yes.
remember that we say we uh, we pay 25% of the profit as harvest to the whole workers.
Mhm.
So that means that they have to know how do they impact in order to make sure that
Mhm.
they know how their job is impacting them.
Yeah.
Uh, it is important as well to have one common goal. Yeah, in most of the companies, we got some salespeople that have their own goals. Yeah,
Yes.
with a carrot.
Yeah.
Some others that have other goals
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they go to the same direction, but they have its own carrot, etc. So here, all this disappears, and we have only one common goal. Yeah, so we will set the goal as well for them.
And when you
And
say goal, can you say more about what you mean? You mean the financial goal, including the purpose somehow?
Uh, in that case, it's more the yes the P&L and the
P&L. Okay.
financial goal. The,
Okay.
pur- the
Numbers.
purpose the purpose we have to work it.
Okay.
Not yet clear.
Okay.
In other companies, many companies are purpose driven. That's true, but in these cases they are not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but this will come later. First of all, we need uh, to go from the amber or the red
Mhm.
to orange and to green, and then if you want to teal. No, so we need to. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, we put everybody together in one direction,
Mhm. Mhm.
and uh, and then well, there will come the salary equilibrium, no, or salary
Right.
balance, as we say in English,
Right.
and and in autumn, once we know each other, once we have started to work in different teams, different roles, etc., we start with the what you said, emotional intelligence training, for
Yeah.
instance.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
are starting already now with some coaching with some
Mhm.
people,
Mhm.
and then yeah, at that moment there will start the different trainings.
Mhm.
I don't know if Dunia explained it, but remember we have three governance teams, forums, where there are representatives of each team. Yeah?
Mhm.
Each team will select one representative that will go to the steering
Steering
forum,
team. Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
steering team, and this one is doing more the thinking. If I
Mhm.
do a triangle, we put thinking, doing, and carrying or feeling. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we will have three forums. Yeah. One which will be the steering one, which will be more the strategic, the
Yeah.
economic side, etc. We will have the commitment forum, which will be more a weekly one, and it is more. It's for people who are good planners, etc. Because it is preparing the week, deciding what to do, etc. Yeah, and then we have the caring team or the culture and values team, which will be the one that will be taking care about people. Yeah? And uh, and each one has a representative of each team. As you can imagine, in every team we have different people. There are people that are more strategic, but people that have an ability to care about the people, to listen, etc. So
Mhm.
these people they will have as well training in conflict
Resolution. Yeah.
resolution.
Mhm.
It's difficult to me to say resolution because it's not only resolution. Maybe it's managing conflict.
Yeah. Yeah. Or having it for the first time.
So
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
one of the things we do is to take the sheet under the carpet and put it on the
Yes.
table. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And just one quick question. So when you say representatives from each team go to the steering forum, the planning or execution, and the social caring, the culture values. So how do they get nominated? How do we know which representative attends which forum?
in our case,
Hmm.
what I would say for the last 5 years, we do this election through sociocracy.
Okay.
Yeah, a sociocratic system,
Yep.
and then it's open, and everybody can vote and can choose, etc. The first at the beginning, the first ones, it happens in some companies. I'm not talking only about Krisos, but in my experience, in some companies, it would happen that one of the former managers or some of the former managers would go to the steering committee. It is not something which is for life. So it lasts 1 year or 2 years. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So doesn't matter. Therefore, the culture, values, or caring forum, it's becoming more and more and more important, because here there are people that have a natural leadership, that
Hmm.
maybe they weren't selected for the steering committee, but they are really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that they have the given power. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they have a connection, a deeper connection. And it's nice because this forum, it's really an engine of change.
Hmm.
Really
Hmm.
an engine of change. That's why they get as well, apart from the conflict training, they get training of tough leadership. Yeah, having difficult conversations, and putting the moose heads on the table, these kind of things. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
and well, again, it's starting to transform the people from the way they live, from the trainings, etc. And these ones, they are already virus, like virus, having discussions in a different way in the company. They
Listening more. Yeah.
listen, but not only listening in the way of a first or second level in order to convince after that, no, but in a fourth or third empathic level, or in a fourth level, which is sensing, yeah, presencing. This is a long way, because to be able to arrive to this, well, they need a training chip, but we work on it, and after 2 years, we got a number of people that are already in that level, and this is then
Hmm.
contagious. It doesn't mean that the others are not participating. Remember that at the beginning I said we need a task force for. Well, we will create a task force for technology and investments that we need to make, or another task
Mhm.
force for setting order into the workshops, and cleaning and preparing maintenance, etc. Another task force will be for the salaries. Yeah. So
Mm.
another co-creating team would be the one that have co-created the organization. So what we try is that the most quantity of people voluntary, they participate to some of these creation teams. So then they live the process by themselves. They live the
Mhm.
difficulties, the conversations, etc., and they get the responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the other words we use always is freedom and responsibility. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we
Goes
have to
hand in
wear,
hand.
and again, somebody who has been the last 20 years in front of a machine and just doing this,
Yeah.
and hearing or getting the order that today you have to do that, and you have to do, I don't know, 5,000 in a day. So, and now you say you will be responsible,
Yeah.
you will be participating in the design. So it requires some time, but the more they participate, the better for the whole organization. Yeah?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Wow, that's a lot. I just have one question also from the three forums. How do they interconnect? The steering, the doing, and the social caring and values.
Very easy. they interconnect in their own teams because each forum has one member of each team. So then the connection is when they go to their teams, when they do I don't know, the weekly meeting or the 2 weeks meeting, whatever, they
Right.
share what
Okay.
have been discussed
Mm-hmm.
in the steering
Mm-hmm.
meeting, or what they have discussed in the caring or culture and values meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and then they
Mm-hmm.
decide and prepare proposals for the next meeting, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So what we
Mm-hmm.
are trying to do as well is to challenge each team to improve, to go better, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to bring initiative, not only to go to a meeting, sit down and listen because I don't know what they are talking about. So we need to make them very, very participative somehow.
Yeah.
Once a month, we do our general meeting too. And
Ah.
there we share the results of the months, we share the challenges, and we do some how do you call it, facilitating structures,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise it was just there and sitting down and listening if they were listening. So, okay, we share some information, and then there are one, two, for all, for instance,
Yes.
to set questions,
Mm-hmm.
or we
Mm-hmm.
do the wise gossip, for
Mm-hmm.
instance.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
some of the facilitating
Yeah.
structures that are helping that people are participating. For
Yeah.
instance, if we introduce the P&L of the month, so then we set some questions about what happened into the margin. Why do you think that the margin has improved or went back or whatever? No, so that then they discuss it and then they set the questions. No,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
using all of these kind of facilitating tools that are existing
Yeah. Yeah.
helps the participation of people
Yes. Yeah.
or
So just for our
reinforces.
listeners, yeah, for our listeners, and by the way, please pop in questions if you have any, because before we end, I would like to address them. But this is from Liberating Structures, freely available. There's a free app to download and the website where you can find the tools that Javier was just talking about. That if you facilitate them, they will invite participation. So everything you're doing is conducive to building trust, to building more awareness, to building more participation, and this is really and transparency. So thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah. So looking forward to any questions that come in that you want to ask of Javier. We will use the last 14 minutes to go into them, but I have a few more questions as well. So when I spoke to you before this call, this live stream, you shared about the new company that you've bought, and that like you said, they came, some of the employees came by boat to your country, and they have a certain mindset that you could say for them purpose is luxury, and even participation, and all of this change because what they are looking to do is to survive. And you spoke about Frederic Laloux and him working with spiral dynamics, and we as Western informed academic, let's say, coaches, consultants, and trainers, we have all these ideas for how it can work, but literally you're working with people here who come to work every day, and basically what they need to do and focus on and how they think and live is to survive. And here you are. So tell us a little bit about how that is not just a challenge for them, but how this is also an adaptive challenge for us as trainers and coaches and consultants. And it is an invitation to become very humble and more spacious, and to really really become so spacious for multiple perspectives, including Amber, as you said, etc., etc. So tell us a little bit about your story and what you discovered about humility in that context.
uh, Somehow, well, it comes from a discussion that we had a few months ago with a friend of mine about purpose, etc., no? And about consciousness levels. And then it appeared that Maslow, when he was doing his research, he spent months, many months in a tribe in Canada, Blackfoot, I think it was called, yeah.
Mhm.
And he did realize that these people that they were living properly, but in a not in our kind of society,
Right.
uh, their purpose was the community. Their purpose was the good of the community. Yeah.
Right.
Some of them, so once a year, they were sitting, or once, I say once a year, and I don't know if it was once a month, but they were sitting and sharing the profits, the harvest that they had. And there were some ones that did very well and became, let's say, rich in our words, Western words, yeah,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
other ones that did less well. And then they were sharing it with the community, all of it, yeah. And the ones who did well and got uh, wealthy, they were explaining to the others how they did it and how they achieved it, because for them the purpose was the community.
Right.
Yeah? And having this discussion, I did realize that we privileged people from the Western world with education, etc., we believe that, yeah, this is the highest values and we have to go to that level. But when you meet with people like here or with other organizations where we are working, where there are people with mental health diseases or whatever, that, hey, Xavi, we are a privilege. And I'm sorry, so shut up and listen. And then sense, be present,
Yeah.
and what do they need? And we are at the service, because as we said, these tribes, they were a community, we are as well communities. And here, a company is as well a community. And we
Right.
need to feel or to listen to the community needs and see what we have to, or what we bring, yeah.
Hmm.
But from the humility, we don't know anything from their lives, we don't know anything. um, so listen, listen, and then generosity. So and for me it was really a learning, something that it has happened to me in several organizations. It's like, okay, listen, silent, and once this happens, you open a space that the things are much clearer. We don't need, or they don't need to protect, or yeah, or
Right.
we in general,
Yeah.
yeah. So we open, and then we are,
Yeah.
in a sense, the same, no, which is the love, no.
Yeah.
And when we are in a sense, we can discuss everything. But the first one who has to be present and humble, etc., it's myself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, and
and be at the
I'm guessing
service.
it's a joy because you get to learn so much from people that come from a different worldview, different life experience. There's so much to learn, and to open a container to offer a forum and a space, maybe also in the individual interviews that you've just been doing with the new company. There's finally an opening where they feel heard, and that actually then brings the openness to purpose unfolding maybe at some point and being of interest. But first, it's about that trust in the community, and that the community actually is at the core, and that we
Mm.
nourish and feed the community by opening up and by participating and trusting. Yeah.
It is like I'd say I could have an interview believing that I know everything,
Right.
and I am interviewing it because our process says having an interview. Or I have an interview, I don't know anything, I listen to you.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's different approach. And I don't know anything from here. I
Yeah.
don't know anything. So listen. And then all of a sudden, when it's open, people say, nobody has listened to me. Never.
Right.
So thank you. And,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
I have to say thank you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this requires that our journey has to be done. We cannot go anywhere and say we will transform the company because we know it and we are the best.
No.
Humble, humble,
Yeah.
humble.
And
We
it's a
don't know.
living process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need ourselves to do our job internally, and which is something that my partner Marina, the co-founder of Full Circle, always says. It's, we cannot go into an organization like an elephant.
Yeah.
There are people, and
Yeah.
we can create a lot of pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
another approach, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you
Thank
do it from the love, from deep of your heart, yeah, it's
you. Yeah, thank you so much. And so I've heard a lot. I hope our listeners and audience have also noticed all the different elements that go into this. So I just want to summarize that a little bit and then go to one last point, maybe. You have a very clear structure in a way. You know how you're doing in certain phases. You do certain things. You have the interviews, or you started even with the vote. You get everybody together. You get them informed. My understanding is you give them a lot of material, but in some cases, I believe sometimes you also bring them together with other companies and employees that have already gone through the transformation, so that they can have real conversations about, okay, at some point it's getting really rewarding and everything, but it's a lot of work and can also be frustrating, so that they get a real sense of it, not just in theory, but also practical. And then you have the vote, which is a huge step for them to say, we are asked already from the beginning, even before the company is bought, we are asked. We are actually the decision makers here. So that's kind of something that is the red thread that goes through, that the employees from the beginning get asked and heard, and their voice matters, their vote matters. And at least 80% of the employees have to vote yes for you to actually go ahead and then acquire the company. And then you go into the interviews, and I believe also the salary balance or equilibrium, as you say. That's another wonderful process that is a great statement to all of the employees also, that this is here to stay, this is real, we really mean it, and we mean what we say when we say our value is transparency, for example. And then you facilitate a process that gives them a real deep experience about that difficult issue called money and salary. So then I heard some of the ingredients you use: the tough leadership training, the moose heads on the table. Let's talk about, let's learn how to have these difficult conversations, because conflicts are, they're very important pieces of information. We should know how we think about each other and about business. Emotional intelligence is what I heard. I'm guessing you also give them training in financial literacy, or at least in how you present the profit and loss. You make sure that is also educated more and more, and decision making, role nomination, etc., from sociocracy. So there's a whole palette and repertoire of tools and ingredients that go into it, that you are very experienced in. And at the same time, I'm guessing that each company is a little bit different and you will actually then adapt to the needs as they show up. So one thing is, like myself, other people, let's say in Germany and Europe, and all over the world, they're interested in what you're doing and how you're doing it. And you have decided, as Krisos, for example, to stay small. That's your intention. So it's you and Dunya and Javi, I believe, and then you have also Pim and Joost from Corporate Rebels on board, and it's a concept, and you decide to stay small. Well, tell us a little bit about that choice, because maybe there's something for us to learn from as we import that, let's say, to Germany, which is my intention.
Well, first of all, we say we stay small because this was an idea that has been created, but we need to prove it works. And then this is like a prototype somehow. Yeah. So who were the people that we know that have been transforming organizations for Yavi's 20 years, Dunia and myself, well, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. There were no more people doing these kind of transformations. So we say, let's do it, let's write it. So we are, Dunia and myself, we are writing every day what we lived, what we are doing, etc. There is already somebody at Corporate Rebels working on the case of Indaero. There is here a business school in Catalonia and Barcelona that will work as well on the business case here. Yeah. But we need to make sure that it works, because we are playing, playing in brackets, with the money from other people, yeah, that trust us. And as well, we are creating a kind of system. The idea is that there is, well, it's easy. There is the financial economy and the real economy. And what we want is that all this financial economy money goes to the real economy. Okay, so that's, but we need to make sure that it is not that we are burning money, so that we are creating value for
Value.
the society. We
Yes.
are giving or reducing the inequality, yeah, but making it properly. So that's why we are building. There is one step still missing, because buying it's easy, and if you want would be something that you get the money and you go to the notary. So it could be simple like that. But we need to do the whole process, make it sustainable, because for us, we always say it's very easy the first 2 or 3 years. But then you need to make it sustainable. I mean, it needs to be sustained somehow. And then the exit is important as well, because somehow we need to pay back to the investors. And then one of our ideas is to create a cooperative, but then like the employees need to say, yes, we want it.
Right.
Or the second one, a steward ownership model. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we are still far away from that. And we said, if we start investing in the Netherlands, investing in Germany, investing as Krisos, there are only 3 people now that can do it at Krisos. So we cannot go, I cannot go to, let's say, Denmark or the Netherlands to do a transformation. I do not speak Danish. I could sense, yes, but that's not enough. And I got telepathy, but that's not enough. So let's build it properly, and then we got it for the wall. Yeah. So there are some people in Germany, as you say, that are already working on it, and we are, or I am supporting it. There are some people in the US that would like to start it. Okay, we will support them to do it, but themselves. And well, that's the reason why.
Yeah. 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 Well, I look forward.
What I was saying, Marion, in the discussion with you, we are several of us, thousands, millions of people today that are trying to transform the world into a new era, new way of doing, etc. No? So I'm sure that we will not see it, probably. Yeah, but we, you, and all of people here, we are working for the next generation as well. So we need to create things that can be expanded.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what we are doing. So
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being also so generous with your knowledge and expertise and your great purpose, not just for transformation, but bringing love into business. And I don't know how the audience feels, but I can say that from my heart, when I look at you, I can feel that. So thank you for being this incredible pioneer. I actually hope to see you in a few weeks when I come to Barcelona to the Festival of Consciousness, where you will also be and some of your colleagues. So I have such deep appreciation for everything you're doing and for who you are being. And I hope that I get the opportunity to learn with and from you in the future. I really do. Thank you so much, Javier. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you to our audience. And please, if you have any more questions, put them in the chat. We will be posting, of course, the recording as we always do. Thank you so much and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.